A very good evening to one and all present here. I'm Sandeep Ansali from the team GIBS Business School, Bangalore. First of all, I would like to welcome all the participants to the GIBS IRE Talks. The GIBS IRE Talks Forum brings together the inspirational speakers to deliver the sessions on innovation, research, and entrepreneurship. So today's topic of IRE Talks is Metaverse-An Ocean of Opportunities. I welcome again all the participants to this webinar on behalf of the entire GIBS family. So before we begin, please allow me to share a few insights about GIBS Business School Bangalore. GIBS Business School Bangalore is a place where talents are nurtured, ambitions cherished, ideas shared, and dreams fulfilled. GIBS is a part of Goel Educational Trust, which is an exclusive business school based out in Bangalore. GIBS offers two programs, PGDM from an AICTE approved program and BBA from Bangalore University. To prepare its students for success, GIBS has designed its Industry 4.0 curriculum and introduced a number of unique programs such as Innovation, Research and Entrepreneurship Program, Finishing School, Sports Management Certification Program, Business Mastery Program, etc. Since our inception, we have an excellent placement track record for all our students, and we make sure that all our students are industry ready and as per the industry requirements. And there's really good news that in the month of March, GIBS has placed the entire 100% students of the PGDM batch, and which has also been featured in the Times of India recently. In the year 2021, GIBS has ranked AAA by Career 360, 11th Best Emerging B School by Times of India, 19th Best B School of Eminence in India, 12th Best B School in Karnataka by Competitive Success Review, and GIBS feathered by Forbes India as a New Age B School and Best Emerging B School by Outlook 2022. I would like to extend my warm greetings to Mr. Gaurav Nigam, Corporate Marketing Manager at Infosys, the resource person of today's IRE Talks. So we are really grateful that you have accepted our invitation and been a part of this webinar as a keynote speaker. It's my privilege to introduce Gaurav sir. Gaurav sir is a marketing expert with an MBA in Brand and Media Management from Mika, Ahmedabad. He's a corporate marketing manager at Infosys. With over 12 plus years of management and leadership experience, he thinks that innovation and commitment can accomplish great things. He is awarded the Smoking Barrels Award for generating the company's largest pipeline, as well as Anytime Anywhere Award for championing a successful influencer relations charter. As a part of Infosys InStep Global Internship Program, Mr. Nigam has mentored and conducted corporate training sessions for students from national as well as international colleges such as Stanford, Harvard, Oxford, GIBS, etc. Despite working in the business sector, he adores to be in academia and wishes to be associated with as a visiting faculty as well as a guest faculty. So I would beg a pardon for you that I would not take too much of your profile. So I apologize for that to cut it short. And sincere thanks for accepting the invitation, sir. And I request all the participants to post your Q&A, the question and answers or questions or any doubts in the Q&A section. So probably sir will take it at the end of the session. Gaurav sir, over to you, sir.
Thank you, Sandeep sir, for this warm welcome. And it's my pleasure to be here in this webinar on this platform. And I think this IRE Talk series itself is doing great in terms of disseminating the right knowledge. So yeah, a warm evening to all the participants and attendees in this meeting presently.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, folks, as Sandeep sir introduced, today the topic before us is Metaverse-An Ocean of Opportunities. So I'm sure this term is a little familiar to all of you. And this is not something which is currently off the cuff and you may not have heard. In case you take even a little interest in tech and business news, you might be hearing this term here and there. So does this platform, Sandeep sir, allows interactivity? Means can people
probably they can post it in the Q&A section, sir, in case
okay,
if
they
you
can post
them.
it.
But I would like to say, sir, our audience are really active. So they share the comments and feedbacks in the Q&A section. They can share it in the Q&A section, sir.
All right. So let's use this Q&A section of this platform. And I would like to ask from you, what do you understand? What is Metaverse? Of course, I'll share my definition. But if you can put in something in the chat box over here, I'll be happy to read some of those answers. So two participants have raised hands.
Yes.
Okay, so but do they have to answer typing in the chat box, or they can unmute and answer?
No, they'll have to type in, sir.
Okay, so I request people who have raised their hands, please, if you can type in, that will be great. Okay, so once again, in case anyone is looking for the question, what is metaverse is something I'm desirous to know from all of you. So if you can put it in the chat box. Okay, that's fine. While I'm waiting for the answers to come by, uh, let me take you few years back initially when internet was launched, and the space at internet was very minuscule. The capabilities and the bandwidth on internet was very minuscule. You won't believe, even to send one email, there was a lot of internet bandwidth which was required to send across an email. And that was the whole capability of World Wide Web, because it was just begin to expand. After that came the era of the dot-com boom. And then finally we had a lot of organizations opening up their online or digital footprints in the form of websites, where you saw initially it all started with nascent basic websites. It emerged into some of very cool and trendy looking websites. And finally, what we hear today, you see interactive websites. In case you want to check out some of those, I would like to mention something, one of our partners called Wongdoody, wongdoody.com. You can check out over there, or Brilliant Basics. And some of these websites, if you see how interactive, appealing, and immersive they are, that you won't at a moment of time, you might not even find them to be a website. Then came the age of social media. We started with Orkut, then Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and so many others. Social collaboration, virtual collaboration platforms are there, which gave a lot of liberty and flexibility to the visitors to interact, collaborate, and do things. Now, this phase is over. So right, we are tracing back in the timeline. Once this phase is over, currently what we see is something which is coming up is metaverse. Now, I would like you to hold on to this term in a very simplistic manner and consider this like a universe. Metaverse rhymes with universe, so it's like a universe where we are doing the digital manifestation of physical as well as digital assets. So let me give you another example. IPL is going on, and if you are able to watch a match on television, what you see is a real stadium. But imagine if I were to create a similar structure in a virtual environment where there are players, there are stadiums, there are scoreboards, and people are cheering of the match, players are playing, and there is a different level of excitement, but all is happening in a virtual environment. Means that event is not happening anywhere, but on a earmarked space on your platform. That is metaverse. Now you may question me, you may say how that is different from a video game. Absolutely right. That exactly looks like a video game, but is not a video game. Because video game is hard coded with certain kind of algorithm which is user control and user participated. If user changes some of the things, for example, if you play well and you get promoted to level 3, level 4, level 6 in a video game, the response, the kind of game which you are playing will also change. Over here, when I'm taking the example of a match being played in a stadium, the user may not be granted any kind of control to make changes to the happenings of the match or the results of the match. Now, another question which you may ask me is, then how is it different from live streaming? The way it is different from live streaming is nowhere, no real address or web address has that match happening. If you have to watch the match, you have to log into this particular web property on Metaverse and watch this match. Otherwise, there's no live streaming happening. So therefore, there are some, I would say, flexibilities or not flexibilities, I would say very distinct features which Metaverse promises to you. Now, I would say while there are a lot of technological aspects, I would like to limit my discussion today for business and management professionals. I would like you to understand how this whole concept and technologies around metaverse are going to be opening the doors for the management professionals and how you can reap the benefits. So I will try to limit my discussion because otherwise it's a slightly broader topic. Allow me to share my screen. I have something to also share with you on screen as well. Hope my screen is visible.
Yes, it is.
All right. All right. So Gartner, one of the prominent analyst firms in the world, is expecting that people and like 25% of the internet using audience will spend at least 1 hour a day in the metaverse for work, shopping, education, social media. How much do you spend today? Perhaps not even a minute, because many of you are still trying to learn about the space. But I'm sure when I ask you about social media, you might be spending close to 2 hours to 3 hours, depending on uh, your engagements and occupancies during the day. But imagine just 4 years down the line, this is all going to change because 25%, one fourth of the audience will spend at least 1 hour a day. Now, if I were to understand metaverse, then it's like a collective virtual space created by the convergence of virtually enhanced physical and digital reality. Now, let me simplify this for you. If I were, since let me take you back to that example which I gave about the stadium. So what we do is that we try to create a virtual replica or an enhanced version of a physical stadium. And supposedly, if I talk in context of Bangalore, and Bangalore has Chinnaswamy Stadium, and assuming it has a diameter or say radius of 500 meters, then and 500 meters radius, it has 4 floors in terms of audience stands where people can watch the match, maybe 18 gates. Then once this virtual replica of the stadium is created, it will be in proportion to the actual physical real estate. So while it is a digital reality, but it is something which is exact model of that which you'll see over there. All right. And of course, there will be certain elements which cannot be replicated, which can only be digitally enhanced. Now, what can those be? For example, if the match is happening under floodlights, suppose CSK is playing RCB and match is happening under floodlights. Floodlights is something, there's no point in creating a replica. Because if you want to show lights on the screen, you have to work at the back end with the uh, with some of the mechanisms or which give you an effect like an LED light display. And once that is lit, your screen is also lit because you can literally cannot copy light. You can only copy physical dimensions. So that's why it's a combination, convergence of physical plus digital reality. And remember, as I said, it's a universe, and universe has rights from every living being out here. Metaverse also has no single ownership. It's independent. There is a virtual economy, means there are transactions involved. Who wants to own what space and how much space of metaverse? There's an economy behind that, and that can be bought and sold. Now, when we're talking about bought and sold, if something is sold in metaverse or over the metaverse, which is a digital asset, once again, I'm telling you, something is bought or sold over metaverse, which is a digital asset, it is called NFT, non-fungible tokens. Okay. Example, if you go to a stadium and you go and suppose you get a bat, say of Virat Kohli, then bat is an actual asset. But if you go to a metaverse to watch the match in a stadium, and you get a bat from Virat Kohli over there, and supposedly it has a signature for Virat Kohli, then it's a branded, authorized signature bat from Virat Kohli. Only thing is, it's not a real bat, but it's a virtual bat. But the signature of Virat Kohli is real over there. Perhaps the company which sponsors the bat of Virat Kohli will also have its logo over there. Then that particular piece of asset which you have bought will be called an NFT, non-fungible token. All right. Now, just to give you a sneak peek into the kind of technologies which go into making the metaverse what it is. There are multiple and so many of those, like augmented reality, flexible work styles. It has head-mounted display HMDs, which you will have to wear, an AR cloud, IoT, 5G, artificial intelligence, and other 3D and spatial technologies. Now, once again, I will not go deep into each of these, but remember, all of these technologies help you look beyond a virtual reality. Or if you go to watch a 3D movie, the way you see things in a 3D environment, multi-dimensional environment, they help you do that. These things interact with each other with the help of technology called IoT and are broadcasted. And very soon, once 5G becomes a reality, they will be broadcasted at the speed of light, very fast and with very low latency. All right. So that is in general what metaverse would look like. And let me also play a video for you that might just give you a bit more answer to this whole concept. So I'm just trying to figure out here. Okay. So this is a video clip from BBC. Let's watch it.
Well, if we think of the internet as something that we look at, the metaverse is a version of the internet that we're inside. The idea is that we will experience the metaverse as an avatar, a virtual version of ourselves that we control as we explore this new online frontier. But what will we actually do?
Okay, so, Boz, here we are in what might be considered a representation of what the metaverse could be.
Yeah, for us, the metaverse is a spatial construct, as opposed to the previous web, which was really a very linear kind of 2D flat thing. We want this one to be immersive. Now, of course, it doesn't mean it has to be virtual reality. It could also just be on a phone or on a desktop computer.
You might have noticed that we're using the tools of the metaverse to create a good portion of this item. My avatar has been created by a couple of companies, Ready Player Me and Oz. They already create tools for people to make avatars from a photo. It's this virtual version of us which will travel between online experiences in any metaverse.
And then over time, what I'm most excited about is an economy there. And I mean, economy not just of digital goods, sure, and entertainment, that's great, but also services. In an immersive environment, I'm going to have an avatar. I'm going to need a stylist. I'm going to have a home space.
Microsoft has adapted its workplace meeting software Teams for the metaverse by creating a system called Mesh. It's designed to work with a variety of different devices, including virtual and augmented reality. AR, as it's known, projects graphics on top of the real world using headsets like Microsoft's HoloLens or mobile phones. There's quite a few people that have got fatigued by having to have video chat meetings and things of that nature, and that they realise they now crave human contact.
Human communication is about 5%, speech is about 95% everything else. I've been in my living room with the entire team around the table, right? Making eye contact, where all the gestures are coming into the right place. So it changes completely the call it the screen fatigue we're feeling today.
The next piece of the metaverse puzzle isn't just about seeing these virtual worlds, but feeling them as well. Meta has revealed that it's been working on a glove that will let the user feel sensations like holding an object. The glove has a number of sensors that measure the wearer's movements, and air pockets across the glove surface inflate to create sensation. These gloves aren't quite ready for prime time yet, but they're an indicator of the kind of research that's going on behind the scenes.
Okay, so that would have given you some idea about how typically whole metaverse has object interactivity. It has multiple dimensions through which people deal. It reduces online fatigue, right? So you're able to picturize the whole metaverse that it's like 1 or 2 level up than the normal meeting you're having. Imagine this meeting is happening in 2D, 2 dimensions, right? I'm physically present over here interacting with you, and this whole platform gives us a chance to come together on a common platform. You're able to watch and hear, and I'm able to speak and communicate across, and perhaps I can do few more functions like sharing the screen, displaying the video. But imagine if we both did not meet like this. We both met inside the screen, inside a universe, parallel universe, where we could shake hands. Maybe my digital version or digital avatar, your digital version, your digital avatar. And we both experience it in a similar fashion. How the meeting would have been. What do you think? Right? I can perhaps invite you for a coffee and have the same discussion on metaverse across with you on a coffee, perhaps our digital avatars. So you know what? That's the whole kind of feel enabled by these technologies of AR and VR, which is going to bring to you with the help of metaverse. If that gives you a sense, even that much sense, I think good enough. And perhaps I would definitely want you to go and read more about it. All right. So moving ahead, I would like to specifically mention to you about the elements of metaverse. What are the different elements? And we just spoke about so many of them. So NFTs, I did mention about it. Remember, metaverse can be a very good place to organize and conduct a marketplace. So digital commerce can exactly be the token to use in metaverse, right? So supposedly, as I said, right, you're buying Virat Kohli's bat over there. You may need not pay actual money. It can be a digital money, it can be cryptocurrency, or digital commerce. So digital currency comes into the picture. Then because it's a universe, it's a space. So remember, an infrastructure is always possible here. Now, you might ask, why infrastructure? So tell me something. Doesn't your Google account, Gmail account gives you only to have a space capacity of roughly 15 GBs? Twitter gives you to type a message in 255 characters. All right. Whenever you apply for a form, sometimes they say to be limited in 500 words. The reason is the more you upload or type or do any activity on internet, it consumes bandwidth, consumes something which is, the digital packets, which are finally have to be disseminated over World Wide Web. So that is infrastructure. So bigger the infrastructure, the more expensive and more cumbersome it becomes to handle it. That's why infrastructure is one of the parameters of metaverse. There is device dependence as well as independence both, because metaverse currently can be accessed only through a certain devices, but in future, I'm sure as technologies evolve, you can even access it from a simple mobile phone, which you have at home. Currently, it might not be so easy. And of course, metaverse will give you gaming, access to a lot of digital assets, shopping, social media, digital humans, which are digital avatars, and help you to talk in your native languages, in multiple languages, hard-coded languages, soft-coded languages, natural language processing, and other events as well. Now, there is a lot of hype around metaverse, and let's try to understand and decipher slightly into it that why there is so much of hype. What is that which makes everyone so hooked to metaverse right now? And there is something which I could put up over here, and I saw that while this excitement is there, currently the activities in metaverse are taking place in a siloed environments. So it's like if you visit Facebook, you don't know what is happening on Instagram. If you visit Instagram, you don't know what is happening on LinkedIn. If you go to LinkedIn, you don't know what is happening on Hotstar, right? So there are multiple things which are happening everywhere, but you don't know. But imagine if you go tomorrow to go for shopping in a market nearby your house, and supposedly outside, there is a quarrel which happens. Won't that noise come into your years, and you might just step out and see what is happening. Or there is a traffic jam, which you can, even while being inside the store, doing shopping, you can notice outside. Or there are rains. There were torrential rains in Bangalore yesterday. So I'm sure those of you, even who were indoors, were pulled by that whole change environment which happened out there. Now, if that happens in Metaverse, then we are talking about bringing together two siloed environments in conjunction with each other, blending them together. So interactivity, interoperability will increase. And that is what tech will take it to the next level. But that is much needed, because once this interplay happens, then you actually have a real marketplace. So it's like you being in Amazon, but able to do window shopping in 10 brands, which you can see at one go, right? Much like how you're in a mall. So therefore, purchasing outfits, accessories for your online avatar, supposedly you have an online avatar going there to go for a shopping. You can perhaps go for a suit, dress, a gown, any traditional ethnic wear. So many of the outfits you can choose for your digital avatar. So there are some outfits which are there to be proposed and projected and shared. And then you would be hearing, right? People are buying pieces of land, digital, and making homes in Metaverse. So once again, what is happening is some real estate companies, what they are trying to do is that they are trying to create an environment, once again, a siloed environment, an isolated environment in which they are giving you pieces of land to buy. That particular environment is being owned by them. It's like a township or gated society, which is being owned by them. Within that, there is a land to purchase, which itself also again once be a digital land, a virtual piece of land itself. All right. Now, of course, you can participate in different social experience. As I said, you can do shopping in virtual malls, immersive commerce, use digital commerce. You can also use this to study in a classroom and experience immersive learning, and buying pieces of art, photo frames, other pieces of you can say original and ingenious creations, which are NFTs, can be bought and sold over there. And then we can even use this to onboard employees, customer service, sales, and other business interaction. Now, the last part predominantly talks about the business activity which Metaverse can offer to you. All right. Any questions so far?
So we do have few of the questions there.
All right. Yeah.
Pratishta Singh says, is Meta company related to the Metaverse thing?
Yeah. Thanks, Pratishta, for asking that question. I would say a lot of credit goes to Facebook, because that is now known as Meta, for commercializing and bringing this whole concept of Metaverse to mainstream. But Metaverse is not new. Just like how AR, VR, 3D printing, and some of these technologies are not new, right? They have been there for quite some time. I'm sure you all would have enjoyed 3D movies and 7D movies, 5D movies, 9D movies in the past. You would have done that, right? But there was no one which was able to converge this together, offer on a single platform, bring interoperability, and build use cases. So it was all there. It was all there. But someone thinking about a business logic, enabling it by technology, bringing it together, and making a meaningful commerce out of it. And that's where there's a primarily a great role available for future managers as well to explore specific use cases.
Sir, same Pratishta itself asked again that all virtual reality dresses are to be bought with an online currency.
Yeah, I think that's what is going to be the order of the day, because it's online. So they would prefer that all these transactions are digital commerce driven. Perhaps even better if they can merge or blend it with cryptocurrency. But again, since crypto itself is not regulated, so that is yet to be seen. But yeah, it will be mostly driven by online currency. I'm sure, right? One who is fanatic about Metaverse and virtual dresses won't like to write a check to make the payment.
Okay. So there's one more question which has been asked by Noor Khan. He says, is Metaverse is harmful for humans? Because I think Metaverse makes us limited.
That's an interesting question. Noor, I would say Okay, there are two ways to look at this: glass half empty, glass half full. I would say that I find myself limited if I really do not have a purpose to my action. I do not know how to use my creativity and how to, strike meaningful conversations or business transactions with someone. Even in real world, if I don't know what to do with my time, I'm limited. Metaverse, consider this as yet another opportunity, window of opportunity to try out things which otherwise were not possible in physical universe with physical limitations. Imagine when everything was shut down, when lockdown was there were social media transactions happening, banks were operating online, medicine deliveries were happening online. So did the world stop? Right? Didn't. So again, it's the lens which you wear.
Great. Thank you so much for that, sir. We'll take one more question. My name Subhash is asking this. In these, we can play video games also, sir. You said it's like video game, but it's not a video game. I need clarity about it actually.
All right. At present, Subhash, the whole, I would say the representation, the manifestation looks very similar to a video game. So in that sense, it looks like a video game. But remember, in a video game, there is a proper algorithm in which there is a whole environment and a plot created where you can be part of that whole game as a participant or having multiple participants. And the algorithm is such that once you keep clearing the levels, you keep getting upgraded, more empowered, you get more points, you are benchmarked against other co-participants, and finally there's a winner. All right. Over here, there is no mission and vision. Sometimes this environment may itself not be user controlled. It can be controlled by someone else. And it is yet to be seen. Maybe who knows, after a point of time, it is more user driven and controlled. But at this point in time, it is not. It is like you going on Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram, you can browse through. But can you change the hard coded display or feed or wall, which is made by Facebook or Instagram? You cannot. That is done by the developers or the engineering team over there. So you don't have control over the environment, but within the features given for users, you can of course use it and spend your time and engage with those.
Great. I hope we have answered your question, Subhash. Sir, we'll take just one more question and then again we'll move back to the slides. So, how Rajeshwari Yadav asked this question: how Metaverse helps in education?
All right. So I would say it will only enhance the joy of online learning. Right? There are so many courses which have started full time in online. Modes of degree education are now being offered online. But it has been reported and widely felt that online education is not very effective. Low attention levels, low engagement levels, all of these issues are there. But when you are in uh, a virtual environment over there, the interactivity will increase. Perhaps a teacher may be able to show you the 3D models, the virtual models itself. Suppose they're explaining about turbine or rocket propulsion, or supposedly they are telling you about the profit and loss statement. Suddenly they create a table over there and they explain you the words, they tell you what are the assets, what are the liabilities. Imagine each time they speak, an image is created. Well, I'm going a little bit far-fetched, but it's like machine learning. You speak something, machine learns. And if there is a matching icon or image available in the repository, it will just pop up. So I say house, I say bank, each things are popping up in front of your face. So this time you won't feel disconnected while learning online because you're seeing things happening in there.
Absolutely. Sir, I think we'll go back to the slide so that again at the end of this, we'll again retake the question, sir.
Thank you, folks. Keep asking a question. It was very interesting to listen.
Thank you.
So just moving forward with what we were, understanding about the hype. Now there are a lot of things which are happening, which have already started happening. For example, Accenture recently said that if anyone who is getting onboarded in job, and again, this is only for Australia and New Zealand, they have started with that geography as a pilot, will require a trip to Metaverse. So they have already created a small module in Metaverse for their onboarding, employee onboarding. Then the first fashion show in Metaverse happened very recently, and brands like Forever 21, DKNY, Estee Lauder, they created, using the digital event to study how consumers will shop in virtual world. So again, this was done at a very, very modest scale, but they're also using this to study and gather data and information, how this will all look like while people were out there in a fashion show or they were trying to do window shopping. then what will be the user behavior? Then AWS, has started using it. And I think to Rajeshwari, to answer your question, see what they're doing. Again, it's not a classroom learning, but it's like somewhere online learning, very similar to online learning, where they created metaverse-like games to train people how to use AWS, Amazon Web Services, basically cloud computing skills. So they are using this to let people, participate in a game, which is like a metaverse-like game. And again, the game is metaverse. It's finally a video game, but has a lot of features which are otherwise present in a metaverse, because the environment is more enhanced. It's very closer to the actual replica of actual monuments or physical places. So they have created this, and they're asking people to come there, do some role play, and build their cloud computing skills. And they're using simulations, puzzles, unlocking new character styles. So imagine someone learning cloud computing in this way. Will that person be having more knowledge, or I would say comfort level with the whole application of the technology, which many times gets limited? So yes, it's like adding another muscle or muscle power, and another tenet to the way you learn. So now let's understand that what are the different business use cases which are possible in metaverse. We were talking about learning, so higher education, medical, military, some types of trades can deliver an immersive learning experience. You need to think, how about, so already there are some surgeries happening remotely via robotics. Laser was one such surgery which was helping the doctors. Then there are some surgeries which robots are performing. But still, it's a very in-person driven process where a person has to literally get admitted and doctor has to be there. But what if doctors are not available and the person is at the medical center? Can it be completely remotely done? Is it possible? Maybe. It will open up new window of opportunities in medical field. Then military. So once again, thinking about drones. So the power of drones, right? They can cross over to any area, and unless and until they're not breaching the designated area, they will never be caught, because they're in the logical area. But military, many times, may need to study and understand the virtual environment at the enemy's side, in the hostile areas, how they can create their base camps, how they can ensure they can deploy their troops, how they can install some of the weapons. It will be very easy for them to use it for for training, and who knows, maybe for in actual hostile situations as well. Then virtual events, they are already getting popularity, and more integrated offerings will come for virtual events over there. We have started experiencing and experimenting that at Infosys. Retail can extend to its rich immersive shopping experience, which we just discussed, the virtual malls. Then enterprises will have better engagement, more attention span, connection with the employees, and social media can move to metaverse itself. Imagine your whole Instagram and Facebook being transformed into metaverse. What do you think about it? If you see a video, someone putting a dance video, and now you're seeing them actually their digital avatar dancing, what will you like? Will you like that better? More hearts and likes to that? Who knows? Who knows, right? Still, the online metaverse behavior is being studied. But imagine the number of use cases which can be drawn out of it. Okay, before that, I go to the recommendation part. Once again, I would like to share something what Walmart is doing on metaverse. So please allow me to share my screen once again.
Howdy! Thanks for visiting Walmart. I will be your shopping assistant module today, but you can call me Sam for short. Okay, let's get started. I have your shopping list loaded up, and I'm tracking your oil change so I can let you know as soon as it's done. You see the tomato sauce on your left? Go ahead and grab that and then place it in your cart. Great. Looks like you need a good wine pairing. Take a look to your right. Your age has already been pre-verified through your profile, so no need to wait for an ID check. Just place the item in your cart whenever you're ready. I'm getting a notification from your connected smart fridge. It looks like you already have a full gallon of milk at home. Should we put this one back? Hey, good news, your oil change is done. Your vehicle will be ready at the Tire and Lube Express. I've added the service charge to your cart. Now for the fun stuff, to electronics. You definitely saved the best for last. This TV has great reviews on Walmart.com. Add it to your cart, and I'll have it brought to the front for you. Need any accessories? Here are some options on Jet.com. Looks like that's everything on your list. Are you ready to check out with Walmart Pay? I'll have the TV brought out to your car. Thanks for shopping at Walmart. Have a great day.
All right, so that was how things are shaping up in Metaverse, and Walmart, one of the largest retailers in the world, has already grabbed onto the opportunity by providing a very superior retail and shopping experience. So now over here, let me just spend some time, and this is not just a video, it's also something to study, how they have integrated. And if you notice, if you saw the video very clearly, they have integrated 4 things. First of all, this is a connected shopping. It's not an isolated shopping. It's during one of the purchases or pickups when you were doing, it told that you already have milk in your fridge. 1 gallon milk is already there. Gallon is something which US uses very often for measuring the liquid items. So they said already have. Do you really need one? No. So you can keep it back in the, you can remove it from the cart. Which otherwise, how many times it happens that we go to the shopping store and we do a repeat purchase and then we come home and see, oh my God, that thing was already lying there. So they are using the power of IoT. They already have your data with you, with them, that you have it with your fridge, and perhaps it's integrated because perhaps you might be in the metaverse environment logged in from your home. So it can actually take the data from your fridge in case it's a smart fridge. And then after that, even when you went to the electronics store, it was very easy to navigate between the levels. So suddenly, that whole environment, which was of the grocery store, converted into an electronics store. Did you see that? That whole environment changed. So, and that's why it's called metaverse, because right, there are multiple environments which can be interchanged based on what experience you want to co-create for the user. And then after that, it was integrated with Walmart Pay. Walmart Pay is like your phone pay, Paytm. It's an own wallet of Walmart, which is also present currently if you go to shopping online. So it directly debits the amount over there. So it's a very easy checkout, no hassles of billing or standing in long queues. And then while you were here, if you remember the representative or the sales representative also said that we have done the oil change, fuel change for your vehicle. It is now ready, and we've added the service charge to your cart. So even your car is ready outside on which it can be loaded and that can be brought over. So imagine the number of partnerships which they have used of different vendors. They've integrated with the technologies, and finally they're delivering you end-to-end shopping experience. And that's why it makes it slightly different from the way you do online shopping. All right. So you need to understand that, and it will only improve as more use cases get created. Currently, it's in nascent stage, but this will only evolve and get better, because I'm sure there are a lot of loopholes and flaws currently, which will only get better. But the reason is, while this whole thing will be more important, is because it will be completely based on the user data, consumer behavior, convenience, creating superior experience, and ensuring that this universe-like platform together makes the whole engagement in online or virtual environment much more stronger and I would say joyful, which is presently slightly missing, which we feel. Okay, I will just share last couple of things from my side, and then I'll open the floor for interaction or any further questions which you have. So I just shared with you some of these use cases which can be, which are possible in Metaverse over here. So some recommendations which I thought might be important for management professionals and other business leaders who are watching. First of all, it's very important that you need to develop a digital business strategy. So every business these days has its own digital arm, or at least most of them are moving towards that. So you need to think of what are the digital first business strategy that can leverage built-in infrastructure and participants of Metaverse. So you need to think about what is the infrastructure you would require, what the participant can be. Then you have to think about the whole innovation management aspect on creating new opportunities and new business models, which are very specific for Metaverse. Otherwise, it just becomes redundant, duplication. So you need to think of it as a parallel space altogether, where if you bring in your customers, what is new, what you're offering, is there some change in the business model, which ideally there should be. Then you need to understand it's a technology at the end of the day. There are risks, privacy concerns, user data and privacy, security implications. And remember, this is still a decentralized environment. It's not a centralized. So your Metaverse, you own it. These Metaverse, Honda owns it, Maruti owns it. So everyone has its own Metaverse. And then finally, you have to think about the different possibilities, outcomes, right, in the form of an emerging technology wheel. So you have to bring your whole technology stack at one place and think, how can I use the elements of my latest technology stack in an optimal manner to ensure I get the best of the outcomes and opportunities, both for my employees as well as for my clients. So that is the kind of thinking process which you need to go with. Now, the last part which I want to talk, do you think the adoption of Metaverse will happen faster? I see, while it is collaborative and interoperable opportunities, which will continue to evolve, still it is decentralized, and business models have to enable the organizations to amplify their digital business. That is for sure. But being fragmented, being not a very regulated environment, though it is backed by the giants of the world, Amazon, Facebook, and all, but still, I think you need to be a little conservative in terms of making investments, whether it will be viable in long term or not. Are the users turning up or not? Are they comfortable? Because users also have to pick up the technology. At the end of the day, it has to become friendly. Social media has taken a good decade or so that now it has so many people, it is so popular. It cannot just happen overnight. And then, of course, we need to have some right devices because it's 3D. Remember, it's 3D. It's VR and AR. So we need to have some right devices. And if it's too much of capital investment, many users may shy away. So that's why I would say everyone will do a slightly wait and watch game before they implement it. But for some use cases which can be built faster, will not require much, especially your training modules, online education, maybe a medical the adoption will happen much faster. So that is all from my side. One example, for example, on which we are working is one of our automotive clients. We are creating a digital garage for them, where we are inviting the clients and consumers to come and do a test ride on their car when they come in the garage. And in fact, not just that, they can make their own car. You come, you sit in a digital car, you choose the elements you want to make in your car. So make your car is one of the proof of concepts we're working on, and then you can choose the elements, and finally you can build a whole car of your own choice. And finally, once you place the order, that car might be delivered to you in 2 weeks or 3 weeks time, or a month's time after all the parts are assembled as per your choices. So that is something we are exploring, and it's the work is under the way. Thank you, folks. That's pretty much from my side. I will just open the floor for any questions and answers.
Thank you so much for that session, sir. Well, we'll just take a few of the questions more from here. So the first question has been asked by Maitri. Sir, can art pieces can also be sold on Metaverse? Do we have something like copyrights on that?
Yeah, the answer is yes for both. Art pieces are already being sold. I think you need to check one big sale which happened recently. I don't remember the name, sorry for that. And that was done in Metaverse. And in fact, there is a singer, a Tamil singer called Karthik. He unveiled India's first music NFT with a Metaverse concert, right? So he did that. You can search this again on news. There's a Tamil singer called Karthik, and he unveiled India's first music NFT with the Metaverse concept. So it is happening. But once again, the digital currency will be used to make the transactions.
Okay. The next question is being asked by Mr. Rajwell. Is intelligent life possible in Metaverse?
Okay, so we are talking two things. Metaverse is only an environment. It is not a living and breathing environment. It's a virtual environment which has no organic or human-like behavior it may have, but no human-like life-like material it will have. Only ones which will exist are your digital avatars, which are as good as animated characters when you watch an animation movie or cartoons. So if you're talking about that life, yes, of course, that will continue to evolve. More digital avatars will evolve. But humans will humans, and Earth is our place. We will continue to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. So the next question is asked by Geetanjali. How can one sell products over Metaverse? How can one figure it out right now when we are talking about the future?
Okay, so we need to understand something, that products which require you to visit a showroom, or products which require a test and trial method, will they have better acceptance and better experience, user experience in Metaverse? Those kind of products should be pushed forward in Metaverse first, right? I gave you an example of a test ride of a car, or even for apparels and accessories for your digital avatars, because you have avatars over there. So for those, we may need Metaverse, to be used first. But supposedly, if it's an online reading, which can be even done like a book, which can be done like over a Kindle, or something which is of utility in the real world, but of a low value and low engagement, then it may not be the right products to be sold over Metaverse first. Metaverse will even, I would say, in the first phase of its growth, will belong to slightly costlier premium products, which are more experiential in nature, and where user needs to have some trial, because then only it will serve its benefit. That's what I believe.
Okay. Moving to the next question, this question has been asked by Spandana. How will the Metaverse reframe human-centric experiences?
Yeah, very evident through AR and VR, augmented reality, virtual reality, more interactivity. When you saw that, right? That girl, how she was picking up the products. She was trying, as if she was trying to hold the actual objects, but she wasn't, and she was putting in a basket. So instead of you going in an online website and doing +1 on your add to cart, which seems very boring, it would seem like you're doing an actual shopping where there's a basket, there is a cart, you are literally picking up the items and objects on the shelf and putting on your cart, right? So that's a new way. That's a real human experience, and there's a replica which is created for you to exactly experience that. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much, sir, for that. Kusuma Kumari asked, can metaverse is good for health?
Yeah, if you ask for mental health, as long as you do not overspend your time in a day on any technological device or any gadget, metaverse is also good for your health. Yeah, so remember one thing, we are human beings, we are impacted by how we spend our day, on what we spend our day. So if you spend too much of your time online on social media or computer, it can happen. Yeah, so in that sense, of course. But if you say, will it drive a raging behavior, then it may exhibit similar behavior like a video game, where people get a little too aggressive or violent, which is still yet to be seen because consumer behavior is being studied. But yes, interesting use cases will come up when more digital avatars come together and interact with each other. Who knows? Human emotions like jealousy, like competitiveness spirit, and so many other things might just sprout up in metaverse environment.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much. The next question has been asked by Dr. Bhavna. Is metaverse similar to AI, artificial intelligence?
Yes, the underlying technology is artificial intelligence. You're absolutely right. Because finally, we are creating intelligent systems which are supposed to behave based on the actions taken by the users, by the participants. So there is and the concepts of machine learning also will employ over here. And it will also work on your data, fetch your data. So suppose you went to Walmart in a metaverse environment and you did your shopping. So once again, if you use it next time, it will give you a list of your past history. So yeah, that technology will be used. But it's not just artificial intelligence, but the rock bed, the bedrock, sorry, is on artificial intelligence.
Okay, okay. So we will just take up last couple of questions more. This question has been asked by Ms. Deepa. What is the role of VR and AR in the metaverse, sir?
Yeah, for that's how you will get transported into metaverse, right? Metaverse, if I show you on a screen, it looks like a very 2D environment. If you want to experience 3D, right? How we have 3D glasses in a cinema hall, you will have to wear a 3D device, AR and VR devices for you to give that look and feel. And and perhaps those gloves, those robotic gloves, for you to interact with the objects in metaverse. So without devices, you cannot be transported into metaverse.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much, sir, for that. The last question we'll take up for the evening. Sir, this has been again asked by Maitri. Sir, with the virtual presence, is metaverse being used as a medium for meetings and conferences?
I would say not evidently, but yes, a lot of us are exploring this to use it for our regular meetings and conference too. Still, I know a lot of companies in India have not taken a step forward in this, but because we're still building our metaverse, as I said, right, it's a siloed environment. We are still building our own metaverse, but I think once we are there, which we may be in a year or so, yes, instead of Zoom link, you might just find a metaverse link on your mail ID and asking you to join.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, sir. I think that was really indeed very, very informative, and a lot of new things has been learned. I'm sure all the participants would have got to know so many new things about the next verge of the technology that's metaverse. So now people will start understanding what the technology is all about, what is the future of the technology all about. So that was really indeed very, very informative and valuable session, sir. So thank you so much for that. So now I would like to extend my hearty gratitude to Gaurav sir for spending his time in the webinar for the IRE talks with GIBS, and and on behalf of the entire GIBS family, I, Sandeep Bansali, again thank all the participants for being with us throughout our journey, and I must say we have really very, very active participants throughout every single webinar. The participants are overwhelming responses which we are getting it. Thank you so much for that. And all my sincere thanks to all the associates, beloved students and the education fraternity for making it today's session a resounding success. So GIBS believes in seeing is believing. I bet you will love the state of art of corporate infrastructure of GIBS, and you would love meeting the such wonderful innovative minds at GIBS Bangalore. So we would love to welcome you all to the GIBS campus, and we love in sharing our knowledge and its hospitality. So we welcome you all. Last question I would like to ask you, Gaurav sir, before we wind up here. You being the visiting faculty, you being the finishing school faculty of GIBS, what's your take on GIBS, or what's your take on the kind of students or kind of infrastructure or kind of the knowledge which we are sharing with the students?
I would say it's phenomenal because we are able to touch the lives of a lot of students, and we're able to address some of these I would not say issues, but areas which many times go in making a very sound and confident management profession, which can be softer issues, harder skills, any of these. And right, you are a combination of each of these things, part of a persona. So GFS, I can vouch, has been making a lot of difference, making students much more confident. We have recently seen in GIBS winning some of the trophies and laurels, and being recognized for their hard work in organizing mega events, students getting enlightened on a lot of I would say case studies and the way they present themselves out there. So I think in many of these spheres it's showing its results already. So yeah, overwhelming and very, very meaningful.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for your feedback. There's one important announcement here. GIBS is again inviting you for our next international conclave on neo business practices for the evolving world. That's on 29th of April. So I would request all of you to log in and join that. You can register yourself for that. You can watch all the previous videos on YouTube, and for all those students and participants, your certificates will be there on your emails by within next 2 working days. That's by 16th you will have. And I would invite you all to be a part of the social network again of GIBS, so that you can stay updated with upcoming events, webinars, seminars, IRE talk series, as well as a lot of happenings in the campus. Thank you so much, Gaurav sir. Once again, I would like to thank you for being a part of it. Thank you so much for joining with us, sir. Please take care of yourself. Everyone, do take care of yourself, and anytime you're there in Bangalore, do visit us. We would love to welcome you at GIBS. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Pleasure.